It's so delayed. All right, I'm hitting go live. It's gonna be a little bit delayed. They're gonna hear us like laughing and being silly. But hey, guys, we're live with the wonderful Mr. Hi-Fi Marcello, my
What's
man.
up? What's up? Good to be here with you, man. I'm
Yeah,
excited. It's been too long.
it has. Crap, what was the last one? It was on your stream. We did the
Uh,
tubes with
two
Pro.
ants under 1,000. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that
Pro.
was fun. Pro, gotta
Um,
get
so,
him on. Gotta get him on with us again too.
yeah, we
That's
really do, man. He's fun peeps. Um, so how are you doing? Let's start with that, I guess. Go.
I'm
How are
doing.
you?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Yeah, just father by day, father and photographer by day, YouTube guy by night. I mean, just trying to live that Bruce Wayne Batman lifestyle on 15 cents a day. That's how we do.
How we do? Um, yeah, man, I'm with you, dude. I had a rough week. It was we had a. I was as the song says, you don't go chasing waterfalls.
Right, right.
Because I had a waterfall in my downstairs bathroom, and now
Oh my
I
gosh.
understand. I understand the song. The song makes sense all of a sudden.
What water stuff in houses is the absolute worst. That is
Oh,
not
dude.
fun.
Yeah, I mean, I have. They finally took one of the dehumidifiers and fans out and heaters, but we still have like two fans, two heaters, and dehumidifier just going. So it's just like fuck. Um,
Damn.
yeah. So
It's gonna feel like a vacation when you get your house back. You're gonna be like, yes.
where they're all gone, I'll be like, I don't
You're like,
hear anything. It's so weird.
it's
It's so
it's
quiet.
quiet again.
It's
It's
quiet.
Then you
But,
can just blare your music and have a symphony.
yeah, right. Oh, I probably won't be able to sleep. I'll be like, it's so quiet. It's so quiet. I can't sleep. um,
Yeah, all the white noise from all the fans, you got conditioned to it.
and it's hot too, man, because they're putting out so much heat. So our house is like it's like 40 to 50 degrees outside, and it's like 70 to 75 in our house. Like just them going.
Damn,
Yeah, not fun.
that's nuts.
Everyone on the chat, thanks for joining. I appreciate it. I'm pointing at the live chat right now. If you're wondering why I'm doing weird hand gestures.
Yeah, and if I
Yeah.
look and if I look this way for a second, that's me just checking the chat because I have another computer over here,
Yeah,
and then I'll be
yeah,
back with you.
yeah. So looking at the camera, looking at chat, looking at Marcello.
Yep, that's it. That's it.
um,
Exactly.
so we got Aiko. What's going on? Aiko. I probably pronounced that wrong, my man. I'm horrible at pronunciation. If I butchered it, I'm truly sorry. Twingen, Twin Gwen, Twin Gwen, Twin Gwen, Twin Guan. But you're in there, brother. Eskimo, what's going on? Snow Ranger, what's going on? Rooks and Ray Rod. Raz, what's going on? Um, Ladonna, what's going on? All right, good stuff. So tonight we're just gonna kind of have a fun chat and discuss. Kind of wanted just to talk about music, really, right? Like at the end of the day, Marcello. And I think we're just gonna kind of pick our top five songs or top five. I think it will be different for both of us, but like for you, we'll start off with you, man. What was the top like music you listened to the past? What have you?
So, well, what up to everybody out there in the chat? Elnrick, I just saw you pop
Elnrick.
into. What's up, brother? So I mean, like, we listen to so much music, and I was like, how do I quantify what I've been listening to the most? And then I was like, oh yeah, this sweet software called Rune.
I need to get mine started up
So
again soon.
obviously I listen to vinyl too, and I listen to Spotify also as well. So I mean, it's not. I don't know if this is going to be a perfect for what I listen to the most,
Yeah.
but it does give you a pretty good idea. So I'm going to scroll my Rune here, and you can see, it looks like just if we're looking at last month, Tripping with Nils Fram is my number one album that I've been listening to. And I just got that vinyl. It just showed up. I was going to bring it and I forgot to put it on the stream. But um, so I've been listening to it on vinyl too. So this is one that Pro Falcon introduced me to. And I have just been in love with this album ever since. And I bought several of his vinyl and just all over it. So that one's, yeah, that's my number one right now. And then you got Agnes Obel, Aventine was the
Ooh,
second top
ooh,
album,
that's
but I
that's
mean, I've been
that's
listening
good.
to a lot of her music. Is just her voice.
Oh,
Ah,
dude.
the production quality is just so good.
Yeah, man.
Um, and then Enya, man, Enya, believe it or not, is old school for me, man. The first time I ever heard Enya, I was in my first job. I was in junior high, eighth grade. I worked as a coffee barista, and the owner of the coffee shop, man, Enya, it was like the Story of Trees was always what
Oh,
we
dude.
opened to on the
Storage trees.
weekends.
Yep.
And so Enya's always been like this peace kind of like music for me. And so
Dude,
I still go back to it with my daughter too,
dude.
especially, right?
I
To try
need
to
to.
calm
I
her
need to do
down
that.
sometimes.
I have a fun story about Inya, by the way. My first experience with it as well. So I got out of boot camp and went to my A school, and we had this like these little. It was almost like a dorm room type scenario, like where you had your bunk. You shared room with another guy or whatever, and mine was a 3-person one. So it was like you had two, like there were these bunk bed desk things, and then there's another wall that had another one. So we had 3 dudes, and one of the dudes was just like a hardcore. He could not sleep unless he had Inya like 24, like just as soon as it was bedtime, it was like Inya was on, it was going off the speakers, and so like it was, I had no choice, like because I was the
Oh
youngest
my
in the group
God.
too. Like I was literally 18, and the rest of the other guys were like, I think one was 23, 24, the other one was like 22 or something like that. So I was like I was the odd one out. They're like, you don't have any say. We do whatever we want, So it was like, and so yeah,
That's
we
hilarious.
listened to Inya every night for like I don't know. I think it was like how long was it? I think it was like 4 or 5 months. I think straight of just Inya every
Oh
night.
my goodness. Well, at least it's soft and
Oh
she,
yeah,
if you pick the right album, it will help you fall
yeah.
asleep, but
The other one,
man,
he would put
that's a
Tool.
lot.
He would put Tool on every once in a while.
To sleep to? Oh
Anima
no.
and Anima, whatever that one was.
Yeah. Yeah, I could not sleep to Tool. There's no
Yeah,
way.
right. I don't know. It was like I said. What is this? Anyways, continue, man.
Dif-
Sorry, I
different strokes for different folks,
for
man,
reals, dude. For
I
reals.
mean, I don't know. Okay, so the next one is going to be Piano Book Deluxe from Lang Lang.
Mm-hmm.
I love the piano.
Oh yeah,
Piano for
piano.
me is just, I mean, Chopin is like one of my favorite classical, pianists, and
Mm-hmm.
but I also just modern day. I listen to a lot of Lang Lang, both for
Mm-hmm.
reviewing gear and just for pure enjoyment. I love Lang Lang.
I have a track for you that you will love. Remind me, and I will try and pull it.
Okay, cool. Heck yeah. Well, and we could share it with everybody. Maybe
Of
after we
course.
get
Yeah,
through
yeah.
the initials, and everybody else might. What's up, Sheldon? How are you, dude? Tilton, what's up? I love it. I see all the homies in
Oh
the
yeah,
chat.
Josh
I
T,
love it.
Elnick, Tilton.
I
What's going
love
on?
it. What's up,
Um,
Josh?
I don't have any public Kobas, but I have a couple public Spotify's just because Spotify's so easy. But I mean, Kobas is my go-to. Usually, I use Spotify for music discovery, and then I move whatever I like the most to Kobas if they have it. That's how I use both the services.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, my
No,
man.
you're good. No, you're good. Okay, so the next one in the fifth position is Inner Song from Kelly Lee Owens. So, and then you got a lot of other stuff like you got Mixing Colors from Brian Eno, Jesse Ware.
Oh, I love Jesse
This
Ware,
is,
man.
so I mean, there's a lot of, I guess lately in the last 30 days, I've been more of into a lot of vocal, piano, and electronic. And then of course you're going to see Lana Del Rey in there. Although I
Mm-hmm.
was listening to her new album today, first listen, and it's only available on Spotify or Amazon Music, which is upsetting because now I've switched everything to Tidal and Qobuz, and I'm like, I can't get it in high res yet.
Jokes on you.
Yeah, I'm like, I switched to Tidal, saying, okay, they have as good of a selection as Amazon Music HD, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then I'll go find Lana's new album. It's not there.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, here, let
but
me.
yeah,
Someone says they can't see our list, and that's. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's just the nature of the size of this to set this up properly to see the list. Let me see if I can't do it. There, it's probably gonna be super delayed. Just as a heads up. But that's you can still. I still can barely see it, so I don't know if this is even be worth saying. But
I don't know if there's a way I can make it bigger on my
I
end.
just maximized it, so I'm not sure how well that will look. It's probably already super delayed because I'm thinking what everyone's seeing is like still Dude, YouTube
Well,
versus the comments, so delayed, so
I rolled it
frustrating.
back. I rolled it back up. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I rolled it back up so we can kind of see, just so people can see. So, I'll just kind of scroll it slow so they can see some of the albums that I've been listening to. Once again, this isn't all my listening isn't done through Rune.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's other stuff too. But
Yeah.
yeah, Hall of Mirrors is another cool one, and this is why I love Rune so much.
It's such a fantastic interface.
Tripping with Nils Fram led me to Hall of Mirrors with Neil Cowley, and it's Pro Falcon. If he hasn't heard this, he would love this because it's real similar to what Nils Fram does, but it's a little different. Obviously, it's a different different artist, but
Which Jesse
yeah,
Ware track was that up there? I think it's the same one I
um,
shared with you before, right? What's your
yeah.
pleasure? Yeah,
What's your pleasure? That whole album was a great one.
fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, because this is all the albums. I don't know what my
Mm-hmm.
top tracks are. I could look at that, but we'll go through yours first, and then we can kind of maybe look at top tracks too. But
Yeah.
Alt J is pretty fun. I've been listening to some Alt J. There's Agnes again, another album of hers, and
Yeah,
just a lot of different stuff, man. So Top Gun, there was some Top Gun in there even. Sound.
Oh,
I mean,
type in Hiromi. So while everyone's here, while we have you here, type in Hiromi for can you search from this area region? I don't want you to share anything but just search
No,
for
you're cool.
Hiromi. It's Hiromi.
Get the
so
other keyboard. HI
ROMI. So this girl, go to the little rainbow looking one, the rainbow track. So scroll down. It's that rainbow track, that one with the cover with the kind of the colors all over the place. She's walking with the backgrounds all rainbow colors and stuff. That's the one I really like. But her music is fantastic. Yeah, this one. I'm like pointing at my screen. This one. Like you can see what I'm pointing at. Yeah,
This
the
one or
rainbow.
this
Yeah,
one?
the rainbow one. All the rainbow. And that right there, it's fantastic. I have a bunch of favorite
Sweet.
tracks on there.
Bam! I just added it now.
And dude, it's really good. That's a fun one for piano.
Oh yeah, piano, modern jazz, and
Yep.
pop. I see. I love that when you can
Yeah.
combine. I'm not a hardcore classical or jazz listener.
Mhm.
I do
like
listen to some
fusion.
classical and do listen to but when you can if you can bring that all together for me, that's just tickles my ears in ways I like to be tickled.
Stop it! But
So
yeah,
go
man.
through yours. Talk
Yeah,
about yours.
let's
Sure.
let me populate this real quick. So I have mine. This isn't really properly this isn't set. This is just my like song. So this is as I go. So on Spotify, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. This week got super busy. I was talking to Marcello and I was meant to get all these populated properly, but I got busy and life took a hold of me and threw me in the mud and said stay there. So so I'm gonna kind of go through this what I can. And so for me, the way I use Spotify is use it for music discovery, and then so every week they have the release radar, and I'll listen to that like a couple times on Monday and Tuesday, and I'll try to find tracks I like, and that's why you'll see like the 7 days thing, whatnot, and then I'll try and find them in other areas. I'm like trying to scroll in the video thing here. I really like so from this one, I guess you could say the top 5 of this, just like songs I've liked in the last, I guess, 10 days, would be Sure, the artist. I guess I can just click on this track. I wonder if it populates it. I wonder if I can get it to, oh, now I'm playing it. That's a bad idea. Let me see if I can go to song radio, go to artist. I guess that's probably the best way to do it, right? And so this is random. I think, this must be the place. It's pretty. I guess it's like a pop, like electro thing, kind of funky, chill, nothing crazy. This must be the place. Lake Street Drive, another fantastic. They started out as like a cover band, I believe, but I really like the way that they're kind of a jazzy. Let me see. Go to artist. You'll see them. You know them when you see them, but. It's these guys. It's one of their latest songs. It was pretty good. Really dug on it. Let's see here. But really, the stuff I listen to on a regular basis, though, would probably be Go Go Penguin. Everyone knows I listen to this all the gosh darn times.
Love Go Go.
Yeah, signal to noise. Like I like listen, that's literally my test track for all my headphone stuff. So that's something I listen to regularly. I listen to I've been listening to a lot of like old school, like not old school. Well, I guess old school now, but Common. I've listened to some of Common stuff more recently. Um, yeah,
He
just
was
like
just in a movie I watched
yeah,
last night, and he was good,
dude.
man.
Yeah,
He was
Common's
really good in that
fantastic,
movie.
man.
I was
Um,
like, damn, this dude is badass.
well, actually, this is a good point. Actually, just as you can see how like I'm pretty ridiculous. I don't really listen to albums. I listen to like basically I play like songs when I'm on the out and about. I listen to this on like random, and then it's. I mean, you can see if you can see the like the different artists. It's never the same artist in a row, except for Common. Every once in a while, you'll see this theme, right, where it's like same artist multiple times. But this one is actually the one I was really digging on recently a lot. I've been listening to this track a bunch of times. I don't know why it just kind of grabbed me, but it's Monica Martin, "Cruel," and it's dude fantastic, dude. I really dig it on it. Uh, um, it's yeah, really good.
Sheldon just brought up a really good point from the chat. He said that we should maybe possibly mention like what headphones and setups we like for some of these artists. It's actually a smart idea. So
That's fair. I'll straight up
yeah.
say, like, whenever I'm listening for just straight pleasure or just listening for fun, probably 90% of the time I'm listening off my TT2 and ECP T4, honestly. And then I'll be using the VCs. That's probably like 90% of my listening, like, is with that chain, no matter what. And that's something that's just my preference. How about you?
I mean, I'm kind of like whatever the mood is. It's weird. Like, I mean, I will say though, I think music that is mastered and produced with more slam and bass, I probably will get the HE6
Mm-hmm.
version 2 and then the Mogwai OG with a KT88 power tubes because that slam combination is just like rattle your teeth level. It's pretty dope. But for the majority of music, like on my list, especially like anything with like classical piano music or strings or beautiful vocals,
Mm-hmm.
I'm usually going to gravitate towards the Verite Open or the Aeolus if I'm in a more relaxed state of mind, kind of chill, because that's got a super sweet mid range, especially for heavily vocal based music. And then that could be on the Pendant that I'm still reviewing right now, or it could be on the Mogwai, or now I just got the Bottlehead Crack back in with a Speedball. So I've been listening to that a lot with both of the ZMFs, and that just is a sweet combo.
Gotcha.
So
That's actually pretty good. Actually, no, actually something that's I've been meaning to do actually is I need to bring my bottlehead crack back out and put it on my table now that I have a little more space and start going that route and listening. Um, Kind of wanted to actually I'm going to do it for my phone just because it's easier so I can tell you what I'm listening to a little bit more. Another one I've really been listening to a lot is Peggy Gou, Gou. The track specifically I've been trying it on my stream recently. Is the It Makes You Forget, and it's she's like a DJ. Really cool track though. Really like that one. Um, let's see. And then beyond that, another one that I've been really digging on lately um, is where are you at? Um, Sorry, I really did mess this up. Okay, here it is. It's one actually I listened to recently as well, and actually, it's if you watch my stream where I'm listening to a tour, you might actually see me almost slightly tear up a little bit while listening to it.
I love that though.
Like
That's
it was
amazing.
weird. It was weird, man. It hit me, and all of a sudden I was just like, it was just like, because I was going from the tour to my Verite Opens, and like there's this moment where you can see it at the time. I just rewatched it this morning because someone was mentioning that I sound robotic in my thing now because I have filters so that you can't hear whatever. So I think it does add a little bit of like roboticness to it. But anyways, it's "This Love" by Clara, Chlara. Um, and that was actually something that Sleepy recommended this track to me way back, like a couple like months back, and I've had it ever since. And another one, but that was weird. And all of a sudden, like it just hit. It was like, whoa, man! Like just you get the goosebumps, and it's fantastic. So that was the other one. And let's see. I think I've, you know what, another I'm really digging on, but it's not the best master, and it's kind of more like a something I really like is the Cautious Clay. A lot of the Cautious Clay stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of him. And then, like I said, like it's really tough for me to have like the top five usually because I'm usually like I'm no joke. Like when I listen, I'm all over the place. Like it's even on Kobuz, I put my
Totally.
favorite tracks on, I hit random, and I just see where it takes me. Let's see where this adventure goes. Right? Like
Yeah, and it just changes, right? With your
mhm.
mood, it changes with everything.
Yeah.
Like,
And then with my mood, exactly that, right? Like so, depending on the mood, I'll just skip until I hit a track. I'm like, oh, that caught me, and I'll listen, and just like, and I call it floating on the sea of music, right? Where I'll just close my eyes, relax, chill.
I find myself doing that too, like especially when I'm trying to discover new music. Depending on my mood, I'll listen to, the first track of the album, and I'll because the first track of an album isn't necessarily always going to be a showstopper. So
Yeah,
you got to get past that first track and see a little bit more about what that album is about. But
yeah,
then, if I don't get pulled in after maybe two or three tracks, I might just jump to like deeper in the album, just do a random selection to see if there's anything that's going to grab me and pull me in. And then maybe at that point in time, it's just, well, I'll put this into my music list. I'll come back to it, but it might not be one of my, favorites that I'm going to listen to tonight. But it's interesting. It's like fishing, kind of. We're fishing for music.
yeah. That's it, dude. And that's what I love. I love music discovery, right? Like that's my one of my favorite things to have is when like I was talking. Actually, it was funny because I was just chatting with Sleepy the other day. He was messaging me and he was like. He said something, and I was like, thanks to you, like I just love that. Like when people recommend stuff to me, for instance, even like in the live chat, like in fact, that's what we're gonna move to that in a second. Someone mentioned it, like what's can you ask what our favorite five tracks are or something like that, and I want to do that, and I would love if you guys would put we guess start right now is like start putting your top five tracks in the live chat, and then later maybe even put them into like the comments section of the video, and that's such a cool way to share music,
Yeah, that's a great idea.
so yeah, we can do that, and then I'll start adding. Like someone mentioned Yoko Kano for good piano, Raz, and so there it is, nice piano track, especially the live version. So I think this is what it
And
is.
I threw this up because Pro Falcon, I'm just glancing back and forth to the computer comments over here. He had asked for the album that I to from Nils Fram, and so I threw it up on my screen share. Hopefully, you guys can see that it's called Hall of Mirrors by Neil Cowley. I think that's one that Pro Falcon will dig on. So, because it's very similar to Nils Fram. Actually, I believe it's pronounced From. Nils Fram.
From
So,
um,
From.
yeah, man, that's freaking. I love that stuff, man. It's I love what like so. I really like Nils as well. There's another one I really like that's God, it's gonna be a mo flicker to find. So here's one: the Masakatsu Takagi Wave of Light live.
Mm.
That one is like such a mind blower. So here's the Masakatsu. So I'm not that would be a mo flicker to try and spell for you guys. So Masakatsu Takagi and look for I think it's Wave of Light. Yeah, Wave of Light Ondo live at Meguro. It's this one down here. Um, no, you can go. I have a gremlin. Uh, thank you, honey. No, no, I'm okay. Thank you. It's okay. Can you go back? I know. I have lights. Una momento.
That's funny. I'm going to
back.
put a question for the chat. So, one other thing I wonder, I'll throw this out to the chat, like being that, the last year or so, everything's been locked down. Do you guys find yourself listening to more live music, or recorded live music just to give yourself that concert feeling? I know that I found myself doing that. I'm just wondering if you guys in the chat have also found yourself, listening to more live music, recorded live music, so you could kind of get that old vibe back from being at a concert. Curious
Sometimes
what
I
other
do,
people
man. Sometimes I really dig that style.
I do too.
What's really good for that is Gabrielle. Why is my brain just went bit? The husband wife guitar couple. Gabrielle. Wow, my brain just totally shut off and was like, "Oh yeah, you had it. It was right there, and now it's
It'll come back.
yeah." They did like the most recent one. Another actually great album I really been digging on is Glass Animals' Dreamland. That was
Oh
another one. I
yeah,
listened to that
that's
a
a
lot.
great one. Yep.
Um, yeah, I listen to that a lot actually. I really love the heat waves. It reminds me of my being a kid. Another actually fantastic is if you really love fusion kind of music, is the latest Blue Note. Blue Note reimagined, and one of my favorite artists on there is Georgia Smith. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but here I'll pull it up. Blue Note there it is. Oh damn it. Blue Note reimagined. It's this one. This whole album is just fantastic. That's a fantastic album as well.
I have to check that out.
Um,
Blue Note reimagined.
and then
It's hard for me to see it on screen, but
oh, yeah, I'll share it with you. But it's just Blue Note reimagined. And then that's such a good album. And Georgia Smith is fantastic too. I think Butterfreak is a big fan of hers, as I recall.
Oh, really? That's awesome. Oh, now I was able to pull up your screen. I just had to click it, so
there you
now
go.
I can see it. It just maximized the view for me now, so
There you
now I
go.
can see it.
Um, yeah. So let's jump into the live chat a little bit there. But like I think that's kind of the stuff that I've been more or less just kind of all over the place listening to. There's some other things I'm really been digging on. Actually, I've been going back in some older stuff. Like I started listening to some like throwback R&B from like the '90s and stuff, like Macy Gray. I started listening to what's another one I was listening to a lot of? I was listening to a lot of the Fugees actually. A lot of the Fugees.
Oh yeah, Fuji's are great.
Freaking great.
Absolutely.
What was another one I was really digging on recently? Jessie Ware. I'm a huge fan of Jessie Ware. I don't know why. Like, I remember listening to her stuff like way back. I don't remember how I listened to it. Yeah, MTV Unplugged of Lauryn Hill. Man, that was freaking great. I'm like, I hit play on accident of "Killing Me Softly" by Fugees. Let's see here. I really like Billie Eilish as well, man. I've been listening to a lot of Billie Eilish stuff. I really liked her since the get go.
Me too. Me too. I was just telling you about that the other night.
Yeah,
If you
that's
guys
right.
haven't seen that, if you have Apple TV, go watch that documentary. That is super interesting. She's so young and so talented.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it just goes behind the scenes of how that multi-Grammy award winning album was created in her bedroom with her
In her
brother.
bedroom. Yeah, it's
Like
freaking
they
bananas.
mastered that in a bedroom. Like, I mean, yeah, I don't know. And just everything that she goes through at her young age, and it just gives you more respect for music artists, man. And
Agreed.
if just how much they do and how hard they work. So
Yeah, dude, it's pretty bananas some of the stuff, dude.
I
Yeah,
I
Amy.
agree with I agree with you. Some of the chat, like Amy
Winehouse
Winehouse,
fantastic in that one.
yeah, but some of her tracks are not recorded well.
Yeah.
Like they're rough. But there is some tracks, live tracks that are recorded well. There's some good Pearl Jam ones that are really incredible. I mean, there's a lot of Grateful Dead ones that are really good and also really bad. There's some good Tom Petty stuff if you like classic rock, and there's a bunch of good stuff from Pink Floyd that's recorded live, and there's some that are really bad. So I guess it's kind of a luck of the draw. So you kind of got to search to find which recorded live music does sound good, but there is some really good ones.
And another one I really like. I'm trying to think, what was the other one I'd always dig on? Oh, if you like fusion music, right, and you like jazz, blues, or like 1920s like swings type stuff, but with like a new EDM-y type stuff or mixed DJ style, is look up Parov Stellar. Parov Stellar. They're fun. They do like swing music, but like it's electro swing. Yeah, so it's called electro swing.
Oh, I love electro.
Yeah, so
electro
Parov
swings.
Stellar, it's these guys, and
Hold
they
on.
have
Let me go add that. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
they're-
go back and add it now.
and these are the albums you'll see like All Night, Booty Swing, Cat Groove.
How do you spell it again? What is it?
Here, I'll pull it up on my screen here. There you go.
Let me look.
Parov Stellar.
Oh,
Stellar.
Parov Stellar.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, cool. Sweet.
And my brother was over there today, and he's
looking pretty cool in that photo.
Yeah, right.
Oh, wait, hold on. Let me see. Can I look as cool as you can?
Oh god, no! Now we're going to Las Vegas on some peyote.
Peyote. The bats, they're everywhere. The bats, the lizards.
You need the long cigarette holder with the cigarette at the end.
Right, right. Where is it? That's cool. I gotta check this dude out. I'm gonna add him right now.
um, yeah, man. So that's kind of like the some of the random stuff I listen to. I mean, I'm all over the place, dude. Like no joke. It's really hard for me to like just sit and listen to one thing. I listen to like Flume, Odessa, Odessa. You probably heard of them. Odessa.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Love
Odessa's
them.
awesome.
Flume.
Yeah.
Oh, here's one that like I don't know what it means. I've read it. I looked it up a couple times, but I remember this track was one of the first tracks I ever heard. There was like a foreign track that just like grabbed me and was just like, oh man, I love like I don't know. There was something about the way that she sings, but it's Zaz Ebloui par la nuit, par la nuit,
Ooh.
and it's a French. She's pretty famous French
Oh, I
singer.
love French vocalists, especially female French vocalists.
Yeah, so Zaz, this is her, and it's this album where she's sitting like this. So I need to find their albums. This one. So it's the album Zaz, and it's Parla. Where is it? Ebloui Parla Nuit. So it's this album. This track here at the bottom. It's their 11th track in this album, and it's dude. Dude, there's a
Awesome.
music video for it, and it's intense, man. It's a cool track. Imagine Dragons, like that's a good one. Twin Gwen. Yeah. So what do you guys think? What is your guys'? Let's throw some tracks. Start talking about music. Like that's I mean at the end of the day, right? That's what we're here. Like that's why I have headphones. That's why I'm in the hobby. Is I want to listen to music, right? I want to chill out and have a good time.
I think too often we forget that, right? Because we're so like hung up on the gear.
Yeah.
I mean, because the gear is fun. We're all techie and we love the
Mm-hmm.
gear. But I think sometimes we can get pulled into making the gear more of the priority and we forget that the music is what it's really all about. At least
Yeah.
for me anyways, you know.
No, dude.
I mean, I'm not in the corner measure baiting, you know what I mean? So I'm actually like putting on my headphones and yeah, and listening, you know what I
Sorry,
mean?
that was bad. I should have done that. I'm so bad.
You can edit that portion out.
Oh
You
god,
can
that
go
was
back
horrible.
after the stream and cut from that point
Uh,
forward.
that was horrible. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That was. I'm not even drinking them. I'm not even done with a drink or anything. Jeez. I went hard immature on that one.
It was pretty funny actually. Let's see.
If you guys like brass, right, like trumpets and stuff like that, look up Busty and the Bass. And I like this one, the real, but a lot of his stuff in
Lost
general.
the bass.
Dude, so good, man. A lot of his tracks are just really good too. It's another really fun one I really liked. I really love that one. I
Let me
like
pull up.
Mumford Sons,
I'm
Beatles.
curious to look at like what my top artists are because I wonder for the last 30 days what are the top artists. I mean, obviously it's going to be similar to what I did for the albums, but I'm curious if there's any variation. No, it's pretty much the same. It just kind of goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
Lana Del Rey's in there. Eagles. Oh, there's some Eagles in there.
Some
I know
Eagles.
not everybody loves the Eagles, but I love classic rock. Melody Gardot. I was wondering where my melody because I listened to her a lot. So, not so much I guess as in other months, but there's Dua Lipa. There you go.
There's the Dua Lipa.
There's your Dua Lipa, Sheldon. I knew she would be in there. Gosh, she is just so wonderful. Pink Floyd. I mean, there's a lot of different stuff. Howard Shore, you know who Howard Shore is, right? Howard Shore is Lord of the Rings, baby soundtrack.
Yep.
So you got a lot of different stuff. Van Morrison. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff in here. Christian Loeffler, Billie Eilish, you know. And this is just, I believe, only what I've listened to from this, you know, this last month. I wonder what it looks like for this last year.
See, I wish Spotify did that. Like your last, like, oh, I guess you can go to history or something.
Oh, look at
right?
that. Enya is my number one artist this last year, which is crazy. Then Hans Zimmer. Hans Z, baby. Then Nils Fram. Then Hall and Oates, baby. Glass Animals. Remember? We were talking about them. They're up there. Agnes, Pink Floyd, Daft Punk. You know, there's a lot of different stuff in there. And some of this is because it's review songs I'm listening to, but then there's a lot of others. I got the Grateful Dead in there, of course. I definitely love the Grateful Dead. Um, there you go. There's some orchestra music for you traditional audiophiles. I got there. I got some Thievery Corporation, my jam right there.
So
London Music Works. There's a lot, so it's
in,
kind of cool.
in mine, if you look, you could tell that I have a 4-year-old daughter. If you look at my most recently played on Spotify.
Oh yeah, me too. My Spotify. That's what I was telling Sheldon. He's like, "Where's Dua Lipa?" So my Spotify is more so with my daughter stuff. So like, I'm with you on that. So I get it.
Then we got some Go Penguin, Go Penguin, Frozen, emotionally played. Let's see here what else I have. I have
Do you like
Flea, Red Hot Chili Peppers. My brother was here, so we were reminiscing about listening and going to Red Hot Chili Peppers concerts and stuff. Back before, we're talking OG Red Hot Chili Peppers before,
Yeah.
like we're talking, Under the Bridge and prior stuff. And then Flea, have you heard Flea's latest album? Whoa, dude!
Is it
Like,
good?
dude? It's like jazz blues Flea. Like my brother showed me it, and I was just like, "What?"
Would Darko use his Red Hot Chili Peppers, or would he to Flea?
Dude, I think so, man. Flea's, dude, it's good. Like I was impressed, man, not to say the least. Oh, this is the other one my brother keeps showing me, dude. You would like this. Look up Timmy Trumpet. Like
Timmy Trumpet.
Yeah, dude. This is actually perfect. This is showing me some of the stuff that my brother, because I showed him how to Spotify on his phone. He could Spotify link to my stereo downstairs, my Kefs with the name unit, and so he was just like, oh, and so he just kept taking over my stereo and playing this stuff. So,
Oh yeah, he's in my library. He's in a collaboration with Neon Futures.
yeah,
Steve
he does a
Aoki.
lot of collaborations. He does a lot, dude.
Yeah,
They're crazy.
I love me some Steve Aoki. Not all of his stuff, but some of his stuff is pretty cool.
That's what his thing is. Timmy Trumpet's
electronic. Yeah, look at electronic house, progressive house. Oh, I'm all about that. I like that.
And if you like reggae stuff or like ska reggae stuff, Stick Figure, man. Stick Figure is.
Let me check it out.
They're good, man. Sorry, we're going down a weird rabbit hole now.
No, I mean it's just all about music, really. So.
Also, Rat-a-Tat, fantastic. Cream on Chrome, a little Cream on Chrome action. They're a fantastic little group there. Yeah. Oh yeah. So this is obviously some of my daughter's stuff starting to show up now. Yeah, daughter. Oh, dude, my daughter. So there's a track on Trolls where they start singing Trolls the World Tour. I think they start singing "Baby Got Back," and you know what I'm talking about. And I don't know but anyways, "Baby Got Back," right? So my daughter's like, "Oh, baby got back," like, "Oh my God, Becky!" And so she starts singing this 4-year-old, right? But we'll go to stores and my daughter sings just randomly. Like, she'll just make up songs and start singing randomly all the time. That's like what she does. So we're in Trader Joe's or someplace, and there's this lady walks in front of us, and she's a little bit bigger, and not whatever. It's not a bad thing, whatever. But my daughter decides at that moment that what song she needs to start singing. Oh my God! And then she'll improvise. So she goes, hilarious. "Oh my God, Mama, look at her butt!" And she just starts, and that line, over and over, following this lady, and we're just like, "Oh God, no, stop, shut up!" And you can't be like that, like grab her by the mouth and like run out, because you're like,
yeah, she's gonna do it. She's gonna do it more then anyway,
oh, dude. And so we're just like, oh, we tried to like go away from her, but my daughter kept like trying to go back. It was just like, hilarious. Super embarrassing.
Yeah, that would be hard, definitely. Let me see here.
Oh, Fleet Foxes. Oh man, you guys got some good freaking. I like Fleet Foxes, man.
Some good recommendations out in the chat.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and here's some of my more recent albums I've played too. You can see it from that perspective also. So I was listening to this. Near Dark Magenta album. She's kind of got an interesting voice, kind of dark and ethereal in a way, and with some cool production on it. Different. This is the first time I heard it, and some of these I kept playing, and some of them I skipped. Moody Man was pretty interesting. I thought that was pretty funky and cool, man. I was just listening to that the other night, and then you can see some recommendations from some of our friends on our Discord too. Like Sheldon sent me this one, Tiana Major 9. I was listeing to that. Yeah, so there's a lot of different stuff, man. I'm bouncing around between music constantly, just trying to discover new stuff.
Yeah,
But I always have my
that's
go
me.
back tos, right? I always will come back to the Dark Side of the Moon and other classics that I grew up with. There's Go Go Penguin right there. I love this Go Go Penguin
Oh
album,
yeah, that
live
was a
from
good one.
Studio 2. That's dope. And there's solo. I know Sheldon was he come back to solo because he likes the bass
Mm.
on this album. I was listening to that too. It's interesting. And then of
There's
course
a
Blinding Lights.
there was oh yeah, Blind Lights. That's a good one. That comes up on mine every once in a while too. It's like ooh. You know, Go Go Penguin had there's a new album that came out where it's Go Go Penguin remixed, and it's like with electronic music.
Oh, what?
Yeah, it's pretty
I
crazy.
need
I was
I
sharing it with
need
Ant the other
that.
day. I should have put it up. Maybe I can find it. Sacred Island. This is one of my other. I grew up listening to Taj Mahal with my dad, and he listened to like a lot of like Rolling Stones and a bunch of other stuff too. He listened to everything. He was Bob Marley. Loved Bob Marley. Um, but yeah, Sacred Island. But I'll try to find another one. Real quick, I kind of wanted to go through some of these tracks with you guys. Pink Floyd, fantastic. Kevin Garrett, yes. Um, I'm gonna have to reconfigure brain to read and stop looking at music. But let me find this Go Go Penguin album real quick for you, where they remixed it.
Yeah, I want.
Yeah, there it
'Cause
is.
I want to
Go
add.
Go
I want
Penguin
to
by
add that.
Machine Drum. There it is. So like
Okay,
here's
hold on. I gotta find that.
songs. Yeah, so it's this whole like Go Go Penguin remix track. Like, let me see if I can. So you go to Go Go Penguin here. Yeah, here it is. So it's this. There's this whole bunch of these remixes. There's all these people went in and remixed a bunch of their latest albums tracks, and it's I can't remember what they were calling it. But
I
there's
think atomized, or is that the song? Or is,
atomized and remix. Yeah, just look for the remix versions, man. They're pretty nuts, man. And each artist has a new remix for it.
okay, this is it right here. GGP
Yep, that's
RMX,
it.
right?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. And there's a
Oh,
bunch of different.
I'll be listening to that tonight, man. That's
Yeah.
especially if you got some more electronic stuff into, because they do a little bit of electronic mix in with keyboards and stuff already. So, but if you got an even more beat to it, that's kind of cool.
Oh yeah. um, let's see. Yeah, I mean, other than that, man, I just been having a fun time just floating on music, you know. Actually, real quick, I did know something today randomly. Because that's what Sheldon shared it in on your Discord. I think it was Sheldon. The P1 amplifier, right, from drop.com.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, that's good. Because I like the P1. I thought the P1, I had it from Jeremy, and I thought it was, powerful amp. It's tiny, too. It's like about the same size as the Hugo TT2, but powerful. And so I went and checked it out, and like, I don't know if you've noticed, all they have now on Drop is audiophile and keyboards.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Nothing else.
I saw an email about that. It sounds like they're putting their focus into keyboards and audio stuff only, and then the rest of their stuff will be sold through their Amazon storefront. So interesting.
That's interesting.
But maybe it's smart, because maybe that's where
the money is.
Yeah, and their bandwidth is better placed there, you know. So
yeah.
But
True.
I would like to see, if they do that, it would be cool if they put more of that bandwidth and more of their own design products, like they're doing with the the Sennheiser stuff, and then because that way you got some warranty with them. So sometimes they release stuff and you only have a 30-day return policy or something, and if you're spending a lot, it's kind of hard to stomach sometimes. You want some kind of warranty. So
yeah, I agree,
but that's
man.
why I like to recommend like the stuff they do, like the 6XX for great, so
bang for your buck is hard to beat.
Yeah, and so that's a really good one. And even the Electrostats ESP95X that Sheldon let me borrow, I mean that review will be coming. And they were fun. They were enjoyable, and I think there's some solid stuff they do make, and that's theirs that is pretty cool to have in your collection still. But some stuff I would probably go different directions on.
Yeah, I think, and that's the. Sorry, I'm like leaning back from my mic. Probably can't even hear me. But that's how I got started. Honestly, the 6XX was one of the. Actually, no, it wasn't 6XX. It was the Bear Dynamics. Crap, which headphone did I grab? It was like the silver one, so it must have been like the
1770s or something.
It was
I tried those. I tried those too.
They're super comfy, but even back then I was like,
no, those got returned to Amazon so quick. Days I was like, nah, I'm out. gone.
Yeah, man. Like it's yes. And then I went and got the 6XXs, and then I rabbit holed to where I'm at today. Like yeah. So I mean, yeah. I mean, you could technically say that that's definitely where I was at. Sorry, I'm playing my fidget ADHD. I got my. Oh, there you go. Dude, honestly, like only like so the headphones I actually own, to give like an idea, I own ZMF, the closed, of course, the open. Actually, all right here because I did that stream the other day. Got my opens and Aeolus, Verite opens and Aeolus, um, and then I have my these ones, of course, headphones like Cost Porta Pros. I have Campfire Audio Cascades. I have the Stelia, the Focal Stelia, and a pair of M1060s.
I can't wait to hear those. Those Stellias, I mean, I've heard such good things. Those are going to be pretty cool to check out.
They're fantastic, man. Yeah, the 990 Pro Elnrec was the one I think I had. But yeah, I really don't actually have that many headphones when I actually think about it. Like, I've owned a lot of headphones through the past couple of years, but actually currently owning, I don't really have that many, to be honest.
I'm kind of the same, man. I've got my 6XX because I haven't sold it.
Too. Sorry, SR1A.
Oh yeah, that's a serious.
And a pair of grottos. I have a pair of grottos up there as well. Sorry.
Do you like them? Are they decent?
They're okay. They're okay. They kind of remind me of like the Porta Pros, but not a little bit brighter Porta Pro. Basically, is what I got the signal
Got
for.
it. Yeah, I'm kind of in the same. I've kind of narrowed down the collection to just a couple of ZMFs, the Verites and Aeolus, and then the 6XX because they were probably the headphone that really sucked me into the hobby. And then I just why sell them? You know, they're so low priced anyways. This makes no sense. And plus, I think a lot of people still have them, so they're a good reference. And then I have, of course, the Cost Porta Pros because those are just like, I mean, for the money, it's stupid good. And then the HE6s, you know, these guys here for when I want to hear that ultra slam, bam, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. But I would like to add a Focal headphone. I am really interested in adding a Focal headphone to my collection because I'm doing a lot of listening off of Matrix DACs with amps, and you know the amps in them are just decent. They're not super powerful, so it'd be kind of cool. Yeah, it'd be cool to have a Focal to maybe pair up with them, you know, once in a while. So I think eventually I'm going to try to add a Focal to my collection. I'm not really sure which one. I love the Clear. I really love the Clear.
If you really like,
I would like to hear the Clear MG would be cool to hear, or the Pro. But I don't know. We'll see.
If you like the Clears, I would say Celeste would be a thing. But if you like bass and you like the Clears, I'd say Radiance.
You know I like that bass.
Low.
I mean, and if I don't want to hear the bass, I obviously neutral sounding anyways. Well, do I? I mean, the Verite opens aren't like super heavy in the bass. I think they got a little bit of maybe well, not a little bit. They're very dynamic sounding.
Yeah, they got
punch, but I don't think they're overdone in the bass in any at least in my opinion. But you know, let's see what else we got. Don't buy Elysias. You know, Wilson, I had the Elysias and I tried them, and I thought they were really good for classical, and I thought they were really good for orchestral, and I liked the way they staged, and they were very well at defining and imaging. But for me, they didn't fulfill all of my music listening needs because I listen to so much different genres of music. So yeah, I didn't end up keeping the Elysias, however you say it, but I didn't end up keeping them. So.
I'm the opposite. I actually listened to my Elysias so much that the lettering wore off. But I mean it was also use case. Right, use case on it was pretty big. Like I mean they were, you know, in the office perfect because I could put them on. I could forget about that they were playing. You know, but if I wanted to listen, I could really listen. But they're also that the tuning of them wasn't so in your face that you had to listen. Like I wouldn't be distracted while working, kind of thing.
Well, see, and I want something like that too, and I think Focal provides some offerings in that. So it's either the Stelia probably or the Radiance. Sounds like that's going to be right up my alley.
Yeah.
But the Stelia It's just very well. I guess the Stelly and the Radiance are kind of attention grabbers a little bit, but
Have a good one, Bitter. Bitter's taking off. He's got to go take off.
later,
Um,
brother. Thanks for
Later, brother.
joining.
Yeah, thanks for joining. I'd say so. I've actually heard and owned probably all of the. I've heard all of the Focal lineup except for the new um, MG and MG Pro. That's the only Focals I have not heard. And I would say, for me, I mean, I own the Stellium now. I mean, that's to put it that way. I think the Utopia is probably the best one, of the best made, if not the best made, like physically made headphone I've probably ever held. That thing's just it's amazing how well built that is. Sound is fantastic, but just not for me. I'd say Delia is definitely the most of my favorite of the Focal lineup, but Clears would be the next favorite, I would say. So if I was to put my favorites on the list of like what I would personally own, would probably be Stelia, Clears, the Celeste, and Radiance would be the ones I'd probably want to own. Would be the
That's interesting.
yeah.
Yes, I think. I mean, I gotta hear them, but I think that I'm probably going to be closer to leaning to what you like too. Um, but I might maybe lean more towards the Radiance just because I do like maybe a touch more bass. So we'll see.
Yeah.
It'll be hard to. It's until you hear it, you don't know.
Yeah, and
So
that's the biggest thing, man. Until you hear it, you don't know. It's a true
yeah,
statement. Like you and I could talk all day long about how we like a headphone, but at the end of the day, even you and I, like, we could be like, "Oh, we love the Verite Open," but our experiences with that Verite Open are not quite the same, right? Like
they're
our
not exact.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, our chains are different. The
yeah,
music we listen to some similar music, but
oh
our
yeah,
music is different too sometimes, and so like we're gonna have different. And I think this was interesting. We were talking about. I think you wanted to bring this up, like
mm-hmm.
how people gravitate towards certain music and hear differently based on their experiences, right? Since
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about music, remember we were kind of talking about
Yeah.
that.
Actually,
So
it's a good tie up into music. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, so well, I mean, I just think that probably, you have had experiences with music and I have had experience, everybody in our chat. So, I mean, I think that, as much as some measure baiters are going to tell you that everybody hears the same, the reality is we don't all hear the same,
No.
So, because even emotions being
Mm-hmm.
brought up in us, like hearing something, a violin or a piano play, or the tonality of something might spur a
Mm-hmm.
memory and an emotion in us and evoke something different than the next person because there's a memory involved with that
Yeah.
sound signature or that song or that tone. So I just can't believe that I just can't put any stock in the fact that everybody hears the same.
Yeah.
I don't agree.
And
So
that's what I was trying to say before too. Is I think it'd be a really cool discussion to have like an in depth on it, but like you're saying, touch on it. It was like the your life experiences factor heavily into how your biases play on what headphones you like physically, the look of them, the things you enjoy holding, touching, to the sounds you hear. Like you're talking about, like a violin string might trigger something, like a piano note, or a specific way a song note goes, or the way a singer sounds, or these things are all very intimate and very personal things for each individual based on their life experiences leading up to that point of listening to that music or holding that gear, or like who knows why I fully like purple as much as I like purple, but I always associate it with the fact that I grew up loving Donatello from the Ninja Turtles, right? Like, but who knows? Maybe
yeah,
there's some other deep seated thing, right? That's that's tied to it. Um,
Donatello was pretty cool. I mean, he was pretty cool.
so yeah, man. So I mean, but yeah, like something like that. It's just what it is. I think that's one of the things, right?
I think too, like you probably, this would be an interesting thing if you were to ask like 1 out of 5 guitar players that are also audiophiles like
Mm-hmm.
us that have multiple headphones in their collection, ask them which one they're most drawn to in their collection because I feel like the wood
Oh, the guitar would,
and the
yeah,
way and the
yeah,
way that Zach tunes his headphones does something pretty damn special with guitar strings. And I believe he was a guitar
yeah.
player
Yeah.
as
He
well,
does mandolin as well.
and he does mandolin. So, you know, and that's interesting too. So if you look at Hyphaman, you can tell that when the majority of their headphones, in my opinion, in my listening experience, are tuned more so for orchestral and like classical compositions that are like maybe wider scaled, you know what I mean? But then if you were to play them with, some pop or EDM or hip hop,
Yeah.
or more modern produce, even, or like metal, god forbid you play them with metal, you're not having the best experience with them. I mean, just like, let's be real, maybe some people are, if you're EQing the shit out of them,
Hmm.
sure. But I mean, if you're just listening to music,
Let's be real. If
you know
you're EQing your headphone, you probably don't like your headphone.
well, I
No,
mean,
I'm sorry. That's just
like,
that's a joke. I'm teasing. If you like the EQ,
I,
don't. I'm giving you crap.
I mean, I think there's nothing wrong with EQ,
There's
right?
nothing wrong with
Like,
EQ. I'm just talking
yeah,
crap.
we're just kidding. But I mean, the reality is if you're EQing it, then you are
Okay.
changing something about it to
Yeah.
give you a better sound signature, which
Yeah.
is cool. That's what this
Yeah.
hobby's all
It is.
about.
Find what you
However,
like. Yeah.
however, there may be headphones that you have to do very little tuning to get them to sound the way you want. And I kind of like that search and that journey and more, and maybe picking the right tube or the right amp, and then I'm good to go, so I don't
Yeah.
have to constantly be clicking on a computer screen, and changing things around.
Sorry, real quick. Twinwood, yeah, bears. I read that comment, by the way. He said, I think bears would dampen everything, and I instantly, I'm in the Pacific Northwest, and I don't know if anybody knows what a bear is. The non-animal version. I guess they're animals too, but and so I read
I'm
that, and I was like, I started
I'm t-
dying.
I'm totally lost. What did I miss?
He just said
Oh,
because they're
okay.
talking about beards. So Taryn says, "What's up, Taryn? Do you think beards have any effect on your experience with headphones?" And yeah, because
Absolutely,
I don't know if
absolutely.
you
Because
notice,
then,
I stroke. Yeah, and I'll
right.
get the. um, but and then Elric says beards add to the dynamics and bass response.
I mean, when you got a beard that looks this good, your listening experience is always improved, Taryn. I mean, come on.
I'm pretty sure my wife acceptance factor of my mustache is gonna go away very very fast. But we'll see. But I usually trim it and then let it grow back, and she's usually okay and doesn't
You
really.
gotta grow the mustache, man. I made the mistake for multiple years in my life, pleasing, other people with what I should do and not do with
Mm-hmm.
my facial hair above my lip. And the reality is, if you're growing a beard,
You
the
gotta have
mustache is just as important,
it's right
man. Like,
there.
that's part of the beard.
Yeah, it's right
You
there.
can keep it out of your mouth. It's not in my mouth
Mm-hmm.
right now. It's what's called mustache
See,
wax.
my wife. I do have actually a bunch of mustache. I've actually had a couple really really big.
Get in
Oh,
twirlies.
dude,
Yeah.
I've had. I should pull some pictures and share them on the Discord or something. But I was to say, my problem is my flavor saver. I have this really nasty habit. My wife loses her crap about it all the time. Sorry, we're going on a different rabbit hole, but I do that, and I chew on my I chew on my beard hair on my flavor saver. I don't do that.
This area right
Yeah,
here. Yeah.
I do that now.
Yeah,
And
I think
she loses
that's
it. She's
pretty
like, "That's disgusting," and I'm like,
that's pretty common for facial. I mean, like, especially when you're bald, man. We don't have
"I can't play with this up here."
you got this. I mean, you know. So yeah, but yes, the beard does make the listening experience very magical.
Yeah.
Um, what else? I don't think it changes my preferences as it grows, Sheldon. My preferences kind of change with
He's
whatever I'm
now listening
feeling.
to a lot more ZZ Top and some. He listens to a lot of Jerry Garcia. We know this.
I mean, dude, I love me some Jerry Garcia with a beard.
Actually,
That's gonna be epic. That's actually one of the portraits I think DJ, my buddy from my last live, me a custom piece out of.
oh nice.
It's gonna be a Jerry with a huge beard, like out in the middle of like Giza with the pyramids. It's gonna look cool. So
Yes, Ruin is definitely the hipster mustache of audio or gentleman's.
it is, and it's just so convenient and easy and fun. Like, I mean, yeah, it costs a little extra, but I mean, you figure, it's like $12 a month, man.
Yeah.
So you can cut
If
out
that's worth it
something
to you.
else.
Don't
If
drink
it's
coffee
worth
at
it to you,
Starbucks.
Yeah, if it's worth it to you, it makes my listening experience so much improved, and to
Yeah.
the point where I changed all of my DACs to be Rune endpoints because I enjoy the simplicity of being able to plug in a set of headphones into the amplifier that's plugged into the DAC and use my phone to just search Rune and find
Mhm.
whatever music I want. It's fantastic. I can do it in
Agreed.
bed. I can do it in my TV room. If I'm not watching TV, I can do it with my speakers and
Hmm.
my streaming system with my 2.1 channels. It's just great. Or at my desk.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I had it for a little while there, and I just let it lapse because at the time I just didn't have that big of a library of like FLAC files, and that was in my head like, oh, I need to have FLAC files to have Rune. So I actually missed the I actually was missed the subscription when it jumped to the 700 price for lifetime, and I was like, oh, I'll get it
oh
eventually, and I missed it, and now it's at the price for that $700 for lifetime it's just enough where you're like, that's software for $700.
yeah,
It's
I
like,
know, man.
but
I've been thinking about getting the lifetime. It's just it's a lot of money right now.
yeah.
$700 is
That's a lens.
$700.
That's a decent lens for camera
Or I mean,
potentially.
it's gear that I need to get
Yeah,
into reviews. I
lights
can
or
keep putting out
reviews.
content,
Yeah.
so it's until
Likewise.
I'm a big time YouTuber
Mhm.
getting all the free stuff sent to me. Sometimes we gotta invest our own cash to get gear.
Let's see here. Yeah, yeah. True story. Let's see. I love the experience of going down the Wikipedia like rabbit hole with music. Yeah, that's another fantastic feature of it. Actually, one of my favorite features is when I do, because I like doing DAC reviews. This is something else. I know this is gonna be controversial for some people. They'll be like, "Oh, it's DACs," but like to me, DACs, like I'm really starting to pick out DACs and Rune. The ability to have two DACs in simultaneous mode, where you can just switch to the other DAC real quick, and you still have, especially if you're both tied to the same amp, like that's huge, man. That's such a cool feature, and be able to have the same song going. It's just going right, so you can quickly A B between DACs and see like what the slight. I mean, it's slight, but it's there, and it's once you hear a DAC that's, I don't know, you've heard it. You can. I mean,
There's 100% differences in
like,
DACs. There's another thing the measure baiters want to tell you. I'm sorry, I'm getting spicy. But I mean, let's be real. Like, there's for sure difference in DACs.
Mhm.
Like, the first DAC that I hated and almost left the hobby was the SMSL SU8 version 2. That thing was so glared out. And I mean, you pair that with a THX amp, or you even pair it with a Lear 3 because the Lear
Yeah.
3 is fairly neutral. It was awful. Like, it
Yeah.
was not a good experience for my ears. And I'm
Oh,
sorry if
but it
anybody owns
measured.
it out
It
there. No
measured
offense.
perfectly.
But it measured perfectly, and it measured so well that it wanted me to stab my own ears out. Like, I mean, it's just not, I don't know. I don't want to be spicy, but the reality is, Dax, there's a huge difference. And, we've been listening to them, right? I got to hear the TT2.
Yeah.
Beautiful sounding DAC, by the way. I'm envious of you owning that, Tyler. It's a great choice. I got to compare it to the Matrix Element X, and there's definitive differences between them. Yes, they're smaller, right? You're not going to be like as vastly different as a transducer or a
Yeah.
speaker or an amplifier,
Even
but
yeah,
they are audible. They are audible, and if somebody tells you they're not trained enough in listening, and
or they
heard
haven't listened to anything but their one DAC.
That's it. That's it.
Elric actually makes a very good point in the chat right here. He says DACs are the foundation on which your amplifier and headphones build their houses, and that's actually 100% true.
What's processing the signal, right?
Yeah.
Spot on, Elric. Like, something has to convert that signal. So what's happening during that process? Do you think nothing happens? Like, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think.
Hey, Twingwin, thanks for joining. Thank you.
Cheers, 20 grand. Thank you, man. That was a late night and early morning for you, so we appreciate it. Much love to you, man.
Seriously, yeah. Thank you. Cheers. Good night. Have a good night's sleep.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think Dax, like, I originally, when I first started getting into the hobby and pairing, I was trying to figure out what Dax I like paired with certain kind of music, and then I just started to realize that I would almost rather roll my music and the sound I want to achieve through the headphones and the amplifier, and just have the most kind of widest I can get for my money, right? Because there's always going to be wider, but it's what you can afford, right? Because I mean, if we all had unlimited money, we'd probably have like a Hollow May or better, right? Or
Oh, dude, the
a V.
Hollow, I got that one in. Holy smokes. That's
Yeah,
speaking of like, yeah, go ahead.
but I mean, no, I mean it's spot on, like right, and that's why I thought of it. So for me, I'm thinking, well, okay, if I can tune the sound of what I'm hearing through my amplifier and my speakers and or headphones, then if I can have a more neutral, not necessarily completely neutral, but a more neutral, wider sounding, well-defining, detailed DAC that's not fatiguing. I don't want a fatiguing sound no matter what, which is why I like the Matrix ones. They've done a good job to take a Saber chip and not make it glary, which is, until I started to hear those, I didn't find that there was that many that could do that. But, and then I can tune the sound based on the amplifier and the headphones. So
Then you get tubes, and you can switch the tubes out if you have tube amps.
yeah, and then you roll tubes. Exactly.
So Marux, Delta Sigma. So I would say try to find yourself a cheap R2R DAC, and that was the first thing I had that made me start to tell the difference between DACs. Was I had the literally it was the drop R2R, which a lot of controversy around that one. Yeah, R2R DAC, and that was decently priced, and that was the first one. And then also another one that I found that really I really noticed was the Burr Brown chips in iFi.
I love those. Yeah,
They're warm
wait.
and they're yeah. There you go.
iFi.
Perfect timing.
Wow.
And those are another fantastic. But then you go to the Saber DACs, and most of the Saber DACs, but not. I mean, the Matrix I hear is just fantastic. But like some of the most of the Saber DACs I've heard tend to be on that glary side, right? Or that they tend to
Me
be.
Too. Me too.
A little bit on the brighter side, a little bit in what have you there, and then the AKM have always been my favorite. But they had that wonderful fire, so AKM chips are going to be really hard to find. So
I do like AKM quite a bit. It's a smoother sound.
Smooth, yeah.
And here's the thing: I was talking to somebody about this the other day. It isn't necessarily that one chip has a certain sound over another. It's that
implementation of it.
Implementation. Some chips are more difficult to fully implement in a high quality way. That's right. They're an easier chip to work with. So it takes more work for a company to take a Saber chip and get rid of some of that digital glariness to them. Which is why companies that can do it that's excellent, right?
I agree. Well, it's like the Matrix. The Matrix is they were able to take the Saber and implement it properly. So Cincy Jeff says, I recently AB'd a BF2, Bifrost 2. I have that sitting around here somewhere. I have a Bifrost. Anyways, the versus a Yggdrasil, and he says there is not a night and day difference, and it's hard. You have to really listen to some of these differences. Sometimes they are. Sometimes you'll be like, whoa, there's a definitive. But you really have to have AB, because if you don't have AB, it's hard to go from like a couple hours even difference. But anyhow, he says it's up to you to decide if that money jump is worth it, right? And that's 100% accurate. What's
great point?
The value and worth to each individual is another factor. I just did a thing on that the other day, or a couple streams back, where I was talking about that, because it comes up a lot, right? Where people are like, oh, well, why would you ever buy that? And it's like, because it was worth it to that person. Like, why are you questioning what that person wanted
That's
to buy?
it. Everybody has, don't shop with your own wallet. Everybody has their own wallet, spend as they please. So I mean, objective, just like sound is, headphone experiences. So I mean, it's if somebody brings them joy and they have the money for it, let them buy a bar talk.
Exactly.
Whatever. So,
it goes both ways, right?
It goes both ways. Yeah. So I mean. Yeah, absolutely. And it is. Tilton's right. It is a law of diminishing audio. Like, I mean, you might go from like, the Bifrost 2 to the Yiggy, and maybe you get 5%, 10% better. I don't know. Maybe not even that. And both side by side. So, but it's really a matter of, how well you can hear the differences and whether it's worth it for you.
Actually, that's another perfect point. Actually, it's funny because I literally just watched my own show stream again a little bit. I was scrubbing through it, but I did the Auteur. I was rewatching the Auteur stream I did. And in that moment I was talking about where I kind of had that almost emotional reaction, and I was switching from the Auteur. So I was listening to the Auteur, and then I put my Verite Opens on, right? And so when I did that, you could see it in the stream. I should have marked the time for it, but like there, it was such a jump in like performance, and they're still similar. Like it's still very. I even say it in the stream where I'm like it's still similar, but it's like this. There's just a certain magic all of a sudden. Like where it's, even that jump, sometimes it might not be. And that one's a pretty big jump, but it's still like you can. How much is that worth it to you? Like I had a reaction, and that reaction alone was like even after I've owned the opens forever. And I still had, I still can get that. That can still get an emotional reaction out of you every once in a while. And that to me is worth like it's worth so
That's
much
what
more.
it's all
It's
about.
priceless, right? Like,
That's what it's all about. I'm on a constant hunt for oxytocin when
yeah,
I listen to music. That's what this game is for me.
the
It's like
dragon. I'm chasing that dragon, man.
I'm chasing that oxytocin. Give it to me, give it to me. That's what I'm looking for. So I mean, that's or that motivation, right? If I'm
Yeah.
working out, or
Mm-hmm.
extra focus if I'm working and trying to edit photos. Like, I mean, that's how I got into the hobby.
Mm-hmm.
When my daughter was born, I had to start slapping on headphones. So I was looking for a way to keep myself motivated and enjoying my work through music. And then it got really deep into the headphone game. So,
Oh yeah, man. Well, that's. I mean, I think we both had similar reasons for jumping in. It was like I had my daughter was born, and so that was a big reason I jumped in headphones. But yeah. Same here.
yeah,
Getting late. Hey,
that's
Raz,
good
thanks for
points.
jumping in. Um,
Good points down there about how DAX can affect staging. Yeah, I think
oh yeah,
so.
100%.
Definitely. Yeah, I've seen some people comment on that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Bifrost 2 is also like honestly bang for the buck. The Bifrost 2 is
It's
probably
great.
one of the hardest DACs you can like to
the
compete
the only
against.
the only thing I would say about it is it's not as good out of the single ended, right? And I think
Yeah.
it's pretty well known. But other than that, it's pretty stellar. It's pretty damn stellar DAC for under $1,000. It's definitely one of my favorites for under 1,000.
It's I agree. Like it's my most recommended for people other than like something like the I guess the other one next in line would probably be once again like when it comes to budget quality like gear, shit's hard to beat, you know, because of the price.
Well,
Just
the Bifrost stages nicely too.
yeah.
Like if you value stage, the Bifrost is pretty decent staging
Yeah.
quality.
Well, it's funny. I was actually so Tilton Lane actually says it, but I was actually going to say the next in line to the Bifrost 2 was the Modius. Was another one I'd recommend, and then below that, obviously the Magni Modi combo, which I just killed Magni in God of War.
Nice.
Sorry, random.
Oh, that's cool. I love
Let's
that
see
game.
here. Yeah, I didn't like it when I first was playing through it. The first time I had a PS4 Pro and I started playing through it and I just couldn't get into it. And then I got the PS5 and I'm trying to catch up on games, but it's hard because I only have like an hour a night maybe.
Well, yeah. How much time?
Yeah.
How much time is in a day?
Yeah. And I have to balance that with how much sleep do I want or what's going on in the day. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, fantastic game though, gorgeous. Let's see here. Not sure about the Modius, but I compared the multi-bit DAC and the Asgard to the Bifrost 2. Probably more of a pronounced difference than the Bifrost. Yeah. And okay, here's the thing. This is actually a very good test. If you have a Modi or a what's another one that's in that price range? The L, maybe like a O2 DAC, like an O2 DAC from JDS Labs or from Drop or whoever. It's like $100 DAC, right? Get $100 DAC, and across those 100 to like even like up into the $300-$400 DAC range. Even I would say $5, but that's when you're reaching that Bifrost 2 Modius range. They all sound the same. I'm not. It's really hard. Other than like other than the slight differences between like a Burr Brown to a AKM to a Saber DAC, most of them generally there's the differences are so hard to tell the difference between that. That's where I think a lot of this stuff comes from. Where DACs all sound the same is because of that, right?
Yeah, because maybe the implementations, the manufacturers are realizing, hey, we're only going to do so much with this chip because we're
Slap
selling
it on a
at this
board,
price.
throw it on the
Yeah,
circuit, and crank it
we're
out.
selling it at this price, and then they'll try to worry about some other areas like the outputs and inputs and stuff like that of the unit itself to try to make it sound better that way. But maybe they're not tuning that chip that much, on how it processes the sound because it's not that expensive.
Yeah.
So That would make sense. I think and you know what though, if you look at those communities, a lot of those communities, they're only interested in the cheapest gear possible.
Mm-hmm.
So, and and basically talking, not all of it, not
Not
all of
all of
them, I
it.
should say. I
And
don't want to say
there's
that,
slight
but
differences between them
there
even
is
at that
slight
level, but it's
differences.
so
There
minimal. It's
is,
hard.
yeah, but they're more focused on like some of the cheaper
They're
entry
focused
level
on
stuff.
Synad, and which, by the way, is not audible. Like, I don't care who you are, unless you have Batman ears and literally like you're a bat with bat ears, not Batman. and even
Awesome.
even then, you're not going to probably hear that distortion. That's so below the hearing level of a human that it's almost pointless. But
No, Snow Ranger makes a good point. Yes, when you're looking at $100 to $400 decks, you're looking at features.
features, that's
Like,
exactly it.
of course, there's a certain level of sound. Obviously, you don't want it to sound like shit, but but you are looking at features. So, and I mean, honestly, even some of the higher end decks too. That's one of the reasons why I like the Matrix Element X.
Yeah,
because it's got rune endpoint. That's a feature that I really wanted.
And that's true. Like that features that. And when I was first in the game, that's what I was looking for. I was like, okay, Dax. I was in the same boat. I was like, oh, Dax or whatever. And then it became about features. And then as I progressed up the hobby, and I progressed up the willingness to spend on the hobby, because that's a factor. I will tell you this. It was really hard.
Oh, yeah.
It was very like there's definitive price points where I was like, ugh, why would I ever spend more than that on this? Like that doesn't make any sense. And now look at me. But like there's definitively points. But it's funny, like the features, the things that matter the most to me now are the features, obviously sound's the most important. Sound, features, and aesthetic are like my big things for me.
Yeah, 100%.
So,
and I think when you're new to the hobby, you are more price sensitive in most cases. You know what I mean? Like, because you're new, and which is good. That's part of the learning experience and process. Start low, work your way up, figure out what you like. It's better to not spend a fortune right out the gate and not even know what you like,
and then hate it.
And then hate it and be like, what did I just do?
Actually,
so
I know a couple
process.
of people that did that. You can see it every once in a while. You'll see like in the Reddits or the different forums, you'll see someone come in and be like, oh, and they dump like 10 grand on stuff, and first time, and they're coming from like Astro gaming headphones or like AirPods, and they just happen to have a big check and go, oh, what's the best of the best? And
especially when you have to buy online, right? Because we don't have a lot of stores locally. I think that's changing now. Vaccine rollouts stuff. We're going to get to do more audition stuff in stores, but reality is you can't audition everything like you would, like if you went to a hi-fi store to hear speakers in a demo room. You know what I mean? So you can hear that, and even then, it's not going to be the exact same sound you're going to get in your house because of room acoustics and everything else. But you can get an idea for the tonality, their imaging, and how well they perform overall. But when you're buying online, that's a lot harder to do. So
yeah. Hey, real quick, I wanted to catch this. Sorry, I'm not wearing my glasses. Dilip Shrestha, how's it going? He said, do you find problems with ear pads on the Verite? Define problems, but I think I'm gonna have gone loose. Oh, gone loose, like the ear pads going loose. They definitely stretch a little bit, but that's not usually a problem for me as far as taking them on and off.
Does he wear glasses?
I'm assuming he's talking about like the part where, taking
where
like you're literally taking the pad off and then swapping it back on, maybe.
I haven't had an issue with it,
but I mean, mine are. I mean, you can see mine. Like, here we go. You can see on my. They're a little bit. You can see that they're a little bit loose here. These are bigger. These are tour pads, solid tour pads, but so they're a little bit bigger. But generally I don't have a big problem with it. I just I just assume it's leather. It's going to stretch a little bit, but it's nothing. It doesn't affect the sound to me, anyways. That I've noticed.
I haven't had any issue with them. No.
Let's see here. There's a lot of good points. Dude, the live chat, you guys rock, man. You have a lot of great freaking comments and talk points. Especially bats or dolphins, Elnrick. What are you, a bat or a dolphin guy? Sorry.
He's a go-go penguin.
He's a go-go penguin guy. I was gonna say goats, and he's just gonna be like, bah. I can totally see. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'm curious to the chat. Is there any of you out there, since the original topic is music, and to bring it back around to music real quick?
Oh yeah,
is
yeah.
there a certain DAC, since we're talking gear and music, is there a certain DAC and headphone that you listen to for certain genres? So just to, think about that in the chat, drop us a comment. So
Yeah, think about the music with to the DACs and stuff. That's a big actually that's a really big factor because some DACs are smoother. Like the TT2 is a smooth and warm DAC. Um,
so smooth and so
uh,
great.
the Bifrost 2 is also I think more of to me it's warm. People say it's not, but to me I think of it as a more warm DAC
It's got a
slightly.
little bit of a warmer bottom end, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah, I would
Um,
say. I don't think it's neutral.
yeah,
So
but it has a really nice. That one's really excellent. It can be also considered. Some people consider it bright. I never really got
there's
it to
some
be.
areas in the highs I have
Mhm.
heard that a little bit, depending on the headphones. But I don't know if I would say it's like bright slash fatiguing bright,
Yeah.
glary or anything like that. I would just say it's detailed for the amount of money you're spending. You're getting quite a bit of detail out of that
Yeah.
DAC.
Hey, good
So
night, Kevin. Thanks for joining.
later,
Um,
Kevin. Thanks, brother.
I agree. So I think if you were to pair, so like a Saber DAC, you're generally a neutral DAC. I would say go with usually a warmer presentation headphone or amp,
Yeah, and amp. And
and
amp. I do both. That's what
yeah,
I do. I go,
help cut through it.
yeah, you balance. Find that synergy, right?
Synergy. Yeah, so I think that's the thing. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Yeah,
Orchestra soundtrack. Sheldon says Element X, FA10, HE6SE.
Ooh,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, yeah.
soundtracks in orchestras and hyphaman. I'm telling you, soundtracks in
Well,
orchestra and classical as a hyphaman, they're good, man.
that's what Hi-Fi Men. That's their jam.
That's their jam. That's their
Yeah.
jam. So if that's your jam, I mean, that is why I own at least one in my collection. I've always tried to find one hyphaman in my budget because I'm not, rich. So basically, the HE6 was my jam for that because it plays really well with everything, pretty much.
Yeah, and I also agree with that too. Like the DAC factor is also something makes a really good point. Um, it is like you don't need to spend a ton of money on a DAC or headphone amps or headphones to get enjoyment at the end of the day.
No way.
I think
Yeah,
like
I agree.
there's a lot of us that we chase that dragon. We're chasing that lust for gear to lust for that sound, that last little bit of percentages of audio bliss or what have you. But I mean, you could be just as happy with the HD6XX or 650, a bottlehead crack, and trying to think a Bifrost 2 or even a Modius,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
go to town.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely. The only thing is just be happy with that happiness because the moment you start lusting and you start hearing these other things, then it's hard to go back to that happiness.
once heard, it's hard
Right?
to
Because
unhear.
that's the factor, right? So like, if I had never heard the Vertes, I would never understand what I was missing. You know what I mean? And the Aeolus are fantastic, and
Yeah.
they
Oh,
do a
yeah.
lot of things very similar to the Verite, but the
Mhm.
Verite is on a whole nother level. So it's like you can't unhear something once you've heard it, especially if you've had a long audition time with it. So
Yeah, I agree. So Dilip asked which pad should he go with on the Verite Open. I'm actually a big Universe. My favorite is the Universe pads. Perforated Universe pads are my favorite. But I also really like the suede perfs as well, Universe suede perfs. But I prefer the Universe perforateds.
what do I been listening to? I got to get out my chart because I can never remember what they all are. I like the lambskin perforated. I think when Zach sent those over, they're actually icon. They're the icon
Okay.
ones. Yeah, the lambskin perforated. I think he knows that I like a little more. So he sent those over for me with that. Thank you, Zach. I love you. Evan, you guys are the best.
Yeah, you guys really are the
My
best.
faves. And then, of course, I got the standard Vertes. And I already had a pair of the hybrids from my Aeolus, and they sound great also with the Vertes. So, yeah. And right now, I think these are just the stock Vertes because I'm doing a very lengthy review on these, and I've been testing on every single pad to kind of get a feel for the differences, of all of the pads. So, and actually, I enjoy them all. And that's another cool thing about Z. Not to like be fanboys, but you can, without having
What are you talking about?
right, and without having to use EQ, you can actually get definitely some differences in sound by just changing your pads.
I just need to wipe my head here real quick.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that's a big thing. That's a big plus with ZMF is like the pad swapping allows you to essentially EQ. If you're not into EQ, you can just pad swap until you find the pad that you like a lot, which is also cool because I've done this a couple times where I'll have like this pad on for months, and I'll be like, oh, I should probably try that other pad, or someone will be like, oh, I really like this pad with that headphone, and I'll be like, oh, I have that, and I'll throw it on, and I'll be like, oh, it's like
I
it's
mean,
like having a new headphone. It's crazy.
that's pretty much what I've done this whole time. I've had these Veritas for a significant amount of time, and then I moved to another pad, and then I moved to another pad. You know what I mean? And it's like it's great, cool experiences by moving from pad to pad. It's fun.
Yeah, really is really cool. But yeah, let's see. I still haven't. Snow Ranger says a tube amp, saving a bit right now, but so much talk about Bottlehead Crack. I think next time they have. So yeah, Snow Ranger. They usually have a sale in October for Bottlehead Cracks. The sales are usually Octoberish, but I think they have another one in the summer sometimes. Like if you sign up for their newsletter, they'll do an announcement and they'll let you know when the next sale is. But I think they've been progressively putting them out on sale more than just the October time frame. I've noticed. So
It's a pretty fantastic amp, man. It's
yeah. And if you don't want to build it, go to Etsy. They have plenty of builders there.
absolutely. Then you can see also they pop up used all the time too. So like,
Oh yeah.
you can always find a good deal of used one.
And like even mine, like I have like I have an adapter for mine, so I'm using different tubes that and there's a lot of tube rolling options, and it's really 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 cool.
Fiend, I haven't tried the icons. I know Tyler has, but I definitely am interested in getting a listen on those.
I need to get all of the ZMFs in of it. I need to own. I'm eventually my goal or end goal is to own all the ZMFs, but I've heard all of them. Minus the only one I haven't heard is the very first ones, and I want to get one, but I'm waiting to see when. I just need to wait to see when they pop up. It's the T50 with the purple
mods.
burst. With the purple burst. That's actually what these were. I requested was my ZMS. Was I said, hey, I told Zach, can you do like what you did with your T50? And he has it's called purple burst that he does, the style that he does it in, and then he did the Shoshugi Bond style burn on the Ashwood. But I didn't even I didn't say wood or anything. I let him. I just said I want that purple burst. Everything else is up to you.
That's cool.
And so
that's the best. You let the
artist.
let the artist do his thing or her thing in whatever case, right? Let the artist decide.
That's usually how I do my tattoos too. I'll be like, hey, this is the things that I want in it. It's up to you to draw and design it, and if I don't like it, obviously I'll let them know. But most of the time, do your thing.
Prove the sketch first.
Yeah,
but yeah.
But I've yet to say no to.
No, yeah, me too. Most of especially if you have a concept that's cool, a lot of artists like.
Yeah, and I've also noticed when you do that, they tend to be like, "Oh, wait, what? You don't want to nitpick every little part of this art process?" I'm like,
which is good. Yeah, they appreciate that.
Let's see here, but the icons. So sorry, back to the icon question. ADHD. I liked them when I had them. Right now, I'm having a hard time like thinking of what I've only heard them at like ZM Festivus and demos and stuff. But I do want to eventually get the icon in for a proper like comparison. I want to eventually be able to do like a comparison of each CMF and like go over each like how they're different and stuff. Like so the auteurs, for instance, are to me they're that neutral, like they're really effortless, man. The auteurs like that, after listening to these, I really want to get a set because they're just so easy. Like they're just effortless. And they're
it's a Biocellos driver probably, right?
And it's just but the way they're tuned is they're very mid forward, it seems like. And I say mid forward, but it's really just the vocals are very forward, and a lot of like that mid range tones, like with the pianos and those type of like certain notes, there's a magic there, man. Even compared to like the Verite Opens and stuff, they're really really good. They just don't have the upper end, and like they're almost like a reverse V-shaped headphone, if that makes sense.
Interesting.
And not in like an extreme, but like just maybe just slightly.
But just subtle.
Yeah. And that's where like the other ZMFs come into play, where like they have a little more V to them, or a little more bass elevation, or a little more warmth. But there's something special about it. Like that's the thing that's cool about the ZMS, man. Each one has a unique character to them that just really makes them almost all worth having at some point, to some level. I mean, obviously, it's an expensive hobby.
Especially if you can afford it. Yeah, why not?
Anyways, Oh wow. So we're actually already into about an hour and a half. I don't want to keep everybody up too much longer. But
Do you guys have any music questions related to music for us? As you know, we both review gear related music questions that you guys might have before, or any questions, I guess, for us. You want to know how I keep this beard so silky smooth and sexy? Just let me know.
yeah.
Wait, or do you want to see this again?
Yeah, right. I don't have any cool sunglasses sitting right here. I can't do that. I would say, so Elnick, actually, Verte clothes with the suede universe perf pads, yes, is super saiyan. Yes, I have done that. That is pretty bananas. Let's see, ZF Grand Slam. I love that. Yeah. Actually, Wilson, that's a good point. I always joke with people, like, people always joke, like, don't tell my wife how much my bikes or whatever. I always say that to him, like, don't let my wife sell my headphones for how much I told her they cost or how much she thinks they cost.
It's an expensive hobby.
It really, really is.
But not as expensive as motorcycles, okay? Because I used to be into that hobby, and it's far more expensive.
Yeah.
It's not as expensive as watches. Well, it can be, I guess. I guess it could be. It could be more expensive. I guess it depends on what level you go. But for the average consumer,
every hobby, though, man.
Yeah, it's every hobby. I mean, your golf clubs can be thousands of dollars, and how much you spend on each round of golf. So I mean, it's all relative, really.
Yeah. Even like photography, crap. You want to go down a rabbit hole? Holy smokes, dude.
Yeah, that's an expensive one. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see here. So Evan B asks, yeah, cheaper than Leica cameras. True. For Tilton. Evan B asks, do you guys have a DAC recommendation for a ZMF pendant plus Verte closed combo? The pendant is to me is pretty neutral as an amp. That's especially for a tube amp. It's one of my favorites. I just don't personally own one, but I've had one in for a couple months for listening. And I know you currently have one right now on demo.
I've had one for a few months now on demo. Well, I guess my question would be, are you going to stick with the stock tubes, or what are you going to roll tubes? Because that changes everything on what kind of DAC. If you're going to stay with a JJ NOS tubes, which I wouldn't recommend for my ears at least.
I would switch
then I would say there would be a certain type of DAC I'd recommend if you're going to stay with those tubes. But if you're going to look for an input tube and power tubes that maybe have a little bit more warmth and or forgiving nature to them, then then you could choose your DAC based upon that as well.
Josh C. Bald and bearded for the win. Yes. So he says stock, so he's using JJ's. What I would say then is a Bifrost 2. He's also using an ADI2 RME ADI2, which is fantastic DAC.
Or that's what I was going to say. Maybe even that is because I was going to say the Bifrost 2 with the JJ NOS was very good, but that topic we said earlier about how you could hear a little bit of those peaks and the highs, when you combine the JJ NOS with the Bifrost, that was a little bit more exasperated. So I would say, maybe what you have now, I mean,
should be pretty good.
AKM is going to give you a nice smooth, like I have the D90, which is similar to the AKM, to the. Now I'm just drawing a blank. What was the DAC he had again?
The ADI.
ADI, which also uses an AKM chip. So, and that was actually a pretty good pairing, the D90 with the stock JJ, because it's a little smoother.
Yeah.
So, and it's a little more, it's got a quick impact. So I kind of like that. So you might be okay with your ADI. But if you're going to roll tubes, then that changes the equation a bit.
Yeah, I would recommend it for a cheap, quick, easy, like even Tilton says, the Modius or the Bifrost 2 would be what I would recommend. But I do like the ADI. I still have mine. I keep trying to I need to get rid of it, but then I keep holding on to it. But the next question, I like Elnick's question. This is actually a really fantastic question as well. Elnick, we need to have you on. We're gonna have Marcello and I were just talking. We need to do another Elnick.
Next time you come on, maybe when you come on, either. So if he's available.
Yeah, if you're available. But his question for the panel: what genre of music do you think you have underexplored? I kind of have an idea what this is for me, but I'll let you run with that one first.
Okay, I would say underexplored. Probably jazz. I would say probably jazz. I probably have not explored that as much as I could. I've explored classical quite a bit because I love classical. I've explored opera even more than I've explored jazz. So I would say probably jazz.
You should check out
What do you-
acid jazz. I think you'd like acid
I
jazz.
love acid jazz. That's a little different, but yes, I love acid jazz. And see, that's what do we talk about? That's more like what did we call it earlier? It's
Fusion, the fusion of
a
things.
fusion, a fusion. But straight jazz is what I'm saying. Straight jazz, I probably, well, I mean, you can see my listening history on
Yeah.
Rune. There's not a ton of smaller, which is probably why maybe I don't hear the way of other reviewers that primarily listen to jazz music. So
I like for me, I would say, oh, cool, Aaron, we get you on then. For me, I would say mine are probably the ones that are just kind of like bad, but I really don't like mumble rap. I don't like. I can't really get into that. I would explore some of it, I'm sure, but that's something I don't really dig onto. I haven't really explored death metal that much. Like that's
oh
something I haven't
yeah,
really.
I have
Um,
not either. If we're going subset genres, there's a lot I haven't explored. Yeah,
if you're just talking like
def-
main genres, though,
I was thinking overall genre. Yeah, yeah.
I
But
listen to everything overall. Like that's the one thing. Like it's tough. Like but to like deep dive on something, I'd probably say the thing I don't deep dive the most on would probably be rock and roll. Like proper, like well, metal. I'd say metal, not rock and roll, but metal. It would be the thing I probably don't dive on that much. I used to listen to a lot of like metal and stuff as a younger guy, and as I'm getting older, like for me, like I listen to more chill music nowadays. These like as I'm getting older, mostly because like I don't like a lot of the hardcore stuff just gets me. I get too amped. And I'm already generally an amped kind of guy, so like I usually want to be like I want to be coming
mhm.
down, not going up when I'm listening to music.
I when I listen to metal, I primarily am lifting weights.
Yeah, that's yeah. Like listening
You
to
know.
Disturbed, by the way, while lifting weights. That's
Oh, so good,
yeah,
so good.
fantastic.
Or Rob Zombie.
Rob Zombie,
Oh,
or another one.
lifting weights to Rob Zombie.
Rage Against the Machine is another fantastic one. Or
Yeah.
Beastie Boys. I like listening to the Beastie Boys too for lifting weights for whatever
But
reason.
sometimes I listen to classical music when I work out,
Yeah,
which is the complete because I just want to be calm, focused, and centered. So I
yeah.
mean, it just depends. Once again, mood, right? How is
Mood.
your mood?
Yep, depends on your mood.
That was a
Hey,
good question, though. That was a really good question.
yeah. Et, thanks for jumping in, man. Glad you can make it. Country, so grindcore. Oh my gosh.
Oh, country's my number one. I take that back. Country is my number one. Country is my number one underexplored genre. I'm sorry. I don't even know why I didn't think
You don't
that
like no
straight
Brooks
off
and
the gate.
Dunn? What the hell's wrong with you, man?
Country's my number one explored genre, and I think that's because I just all
Tim
over the
McGraw? You don't like
place.
Tim
So
McGraw, little Faith Hill?
there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that's my most underexplored genre, and
I
then probably jazz.
I grew up in a pretty country Hickville little town. So I have a bunch of country that I listened to growing up, which is funny because like my brother and I we were like the snowboard skater kids in a town full of hicks. We got in a lot of
To me,
fights. Not gonna lie to you.
Oh yeah, those type of towns will do that for sure.
um,
The Grateful Dead to me is folk Americana. Like
I
it's
love
better.
folk. I
It's
love
better
folk.
to me than country
Me too.
because they're
Bluegrass.
singing
Oh, I love
about
bluegrass. You want to listen to
bluegrass. That's it. Yeah, that kind of folk rock Americana
Mhm.
style music is what I can relate
Yes,
to
I
more.
love that
I
stuff
don't
too.
relate to farming and stuff like that, and taking
See, I grew up. I
girls
grew up
and
on a
doing the swing and I mean I just that's just not me.
we had like a little faux farm growing up though, but my dad was more like the hippie farmer kind of guy or mountain man farmer.
Now that's a cool kind of farm. I could get with
Yeah,
that.
like we had llamas, goats, chickens, ducks.
Yeah,
And
that-
he had 3 acres of gardens. We always had like fresh vegetables and all that stuff.
That's
growing
cool.
Up.
Yeah, that's
Um,
cool. I could get down with that now.
Yeah, yeah.
That'd be cool.
So that's what I was gonna say. My brother was here in town recently, and so he went to school in Humboldt State in California. So I don't know about if
Oh,
you guys.
yeah.
So that's like
I know all
Grateful
about
Dead
Humboldt.
Central. Like that's
Yep.
and he hated the Grateful Dead because of that. I think right. Like he was always
Yeah,
just like
it's pretty heavily on heavily on play out there for
Yeah,
sure.
and so he's always been just like, oh, like Deadheads, oh, like he just did not like Deadheads, and
He probably didn't hate the music, but he didn't like the Deadheads. Is probably what it was. That's probably what it
that's that
was.
bias. So that goes back to that experience of what people like and don't like, right? So there's other things that play into.
100%.
So he recently was like, was randomly listening on Spotify or whatever, but he started listening to some Grateful Dead randomly, and he was like, so he's over here this weekend. He's like, dude, Grateful Dead, man. Ooh.
They're awesome. Yeah, they're awesome. Like, you want to talk about some of the greatest lyrics and music ever, and that, and try to figure out what they're talking about. I mean, there's a reason why they
had
were
this
at the
following.
height, the greatest, most followed American band in history.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and I mean, if Jerry was still alive, it would be interesting to see what was happening now. But
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, they're always. I always come back to them. That was the first song I ever played for my daughter after she was born, which I don't know if that's an appropriate song to play, "The Friend of the Devil," but for your daughter after she's born.
Yeah.
But she got cleansed immediately after Three Little Birds from
little Bob Marley.
Yeah, Bob Marley. So it was all good. So and she loves.
I
Grateful
grew up
Dead.
listening to Bob
Music.
Marley too, man. Oh man.
Oh, I love Bob Marley, man. I love Bob Marley.
Fantastic.
Yeah, but for me, country. I have to revoke my previous statement. Country is my number one underscore.
JTB, you nailed it actually too, because I grew up listening to some Johnny Cash and some Willie Nelson.
Yeah,
yeah,
Willie
man,
Nelson too.
Man, Willie Nelson.
But see, that's not today's country.
That's not today's country.
No,
yeah. I agree. That's what he's trying to say. There's two types. There's like the old school and the new school.
I love me some Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson, but today's country, the modern country, it's more pop anyways.
Yeah,
but
it's more pop.
The lyrics
it's
of
twang,
the pop.
It's twangy pop.
Too twangy.
It's twangy pop. No offense to country lovers. There's some that I still do love. I still love some. Like that's the thing about me too is like I don't really care about the genre. I just care about the music. Like so, if there's a track, like a single track or whatever, and it sticks to me, like I'll be like, oh, dude, I like that. I can dig on it.
Absolutely, I agree.
If Cost was
an equal opportunity listener.
Oh, Fish. Yeah, I wasn't really big on Fish either, Elric. So ET says.
Fish were kind of like Fish to me were a little bit kind of like on the coattails of the Grateful Dead. So I think they had ways was kind of similar. And I had been to a Fish concert just to see when I was in my younger years to see if it was like the Grateful Dead concert that I had experience of going to, luckily, before Jerry passed away. And, I thought the experience and the vibe that they were creating was similar, and it was cool for that, but I never fell into the music like I did with the Grateful Dead, because the Grateful Dead just they came to me at a young age, and I've been stuck with them ever since.
Yeah,
I own more of their vinyl records than anything. I mean,
for me, I'd say it's like Bob Marley. Like I don't listen to Bob Marley all the time, but like I can instantly go and listen to Bob Marley and just be good to go.
I love Bob Marley, yeah.
So, E.T. the Alien asks, ZMF Verite or Susvara if cost was the same? I actually did a stream about the Susvara, and I personally would grab the Verite, personally. I don't know about Marcello, but...
I haven't heard the Susvara, but from my understanding, the 86 V2 is 90% of the Susvara, at least from... Android, who I trust his ears,
Yeah, Ant's good.
And he owns both, and he measures both, you know. So he said they're very similar. There's subtle differences. So for me, I would say own the HE6 version 2 SE and the Verite. Yeah. So you get both, and you don't have to spend Susvara type money.
Oh yeah.
That's my solution. Here, let me see. I put my money where my mouth is.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of the Verites over the. I mean, I thought the Susvara they sounded fantastic. They're just not my thing, personally.
I love the Verites. The Verites to me can just play with everything too. So,
and I'm biased. I'm not gonna. I mean, let's be real here. I'm definitively biased, but anyways, Babylon Bus, yes, excellent. Delta Swamp Blues. You know what? It's funny. I grew up listening. So my stepmom was a bass player, and we would travel all over the place going to her jazz blues gigs. But she was also a bluegrass in a couple of bluegrass bands, and so that's how I got into that. And then she did orchestra, symphonies. She did all that fun stuff. So I mean, that's what I grew up listening to was all this like rock. She was in a couple rock bands. She was in a couple of blues and jazz, like I said, blues, jazz, bluegrass. Gosh, so we'd go every weekend was a new gig. We'd always be traveling someplace in California to go watch her play. And it was crazy how much. It's funny how bars, when I was growing up, like I don't think you can do this anymore, but I remember being like a kid in a bar with my dad watching my stepmom while he's getting slammed while she's playing in this bar, and I'm just sitting there in this bar, like that doesn't
probably because you were the family of the probably makes sense.
Yeah. But I mean, it's also like I think that era too. Like, and these are like cool, like almost western-y style saloons. Yeah. Some of them were, and some of them were just
more laid back,
super chill. Yeah,
more laid back time.
Yeah. Anyways, not seeing too much else, and I don't want to keep everyone up too much later. We're just getting kind of late. Not seeing too many questions, but I think, hey, Marcello, thanks.
Dude, that was so much fun. Yeah, and we'll after the stream, we'll set up to get you on the channel, my channel with me, and we'll reach out to Elnrick too and see if we can't come up with a fun topic for the community in the next week or two, and man, do this again, because this is a blast, and I love doing this. Let's just do this regularly. We'll jump on each other's channels and hang out with everybody. This is fun. I love this.
Yeah, I agree, man. It's super fun. Yeah, I wasn't also Tilton. I wasn't drinking. I was probably drinking. Actually, I drank a lot of sarsaparilla and root beer. I have a huge love for sarsaparilla and root beer because of that time. Because that's what they would give me in the bars. I'd get root beers in the mug. I'd get a root beer mug, and I thought I was cool as a young kid with my root beer.
It tastes good.
No, dude, yes, especially like old fashioned root beer and our old fashioned sarsaparilla. It's so good. Anyways, thanks everyone for joining and sticking it through and chatting with us and listening to us rant about music and random crap and all that fun stuff. It's always, like I said, like Marcello already nailed it, man. It's such fun doing this and chatting with you guys. By the way, once this is over and this goes live, hit the comments up and put your top 5 tracks in the comments, because I think that would be really cool to go and explore and try and see new music. So please, once this hits the comment section, or even now in the comment section, go throw your top 5 tracks in the comments. I think that'd be fantastic and a cool way to discover new music. So, all right, yeah. So, and I'll do the same. I'll throw my top 5 tracks for the past like month or something, and maybe
and I'll do that too.
Yeah, and we can start going. So, all right, everyone, have a great evening. Marcello, have a great evening. I'll let you finish it off before I hit the end stream, and we'll go from there.
Oh, just love you guys all. Thank you for being with us, and you guys are the best. This is what makes this hobby fun, is our connection to this community. So we appreciate you all.
Yeah, that exactly what that guy said. Cheers, everybody, and have a great evening.